Energy leaders from all over the world are gathering in Vienna for a key OPEC seminar as the threat of tariffs remains front and center. That's where Brian Sullivan is, and he's now joined by Helima Croft, the global head of commodity strategy at RBC. Brian, take it away.
Yeah, Kelly, thank you. Yeah, listen, obviously well known to our viewers, CNBC contributor and somebody that knows OPEC as well or better than anybody in the world. Helima Croft with us here in Vienna, Austria. Helima, this was an interesting seminar. It was not an OPEC meeting where they would make the decision on output. They did that on Saturday. They advanced the pace, 548,000 more barrels a day in August. But it was an interesting meeting nonetheless, marked by who was here and marked by who wasn't here. What are sort of the 2 or 3 key themes that you're going to be writing about to your clients?
Well, first of all, this is the first time the ministers have gathered in Vienna in 2 years. So we have not been having OPEC meetings in person. So this is an important event. And you're right. Who is not here? The president of OPEC this year, the Iranian oil minister, not here. He comes in via video conference.
Supposed to be here.
It's a little unsafe to be here. Probably, security issues. But comes in hot on the United States, hot on Israel, basically says these two countries are threatening global energy security, the precarious security situation that you have been talking about earlier in the show. We also had Russia, a no-show this year. And interesting, Venezuela was here. Venezuela came in hot as well, denouncing the United States, denouncing Israel, and criticizing the United States for its coercive sanctions measures.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that were unexpected. One of the reasons we were here is that there is so much more geopolitical tension. I think the security issues, as we could see from behind you where the dinner is, there's a lot very heavy. I was joking earlier, only
heavy security presence.
Yeah, every police officer in Vienna, Austria, is sort of in a 1-block radius of where we stand. You heard earlier we interviewed Suhail Al-Mazroui of the UAE that OPEC would stand ready to fill any gaps. Are they able to do that?
Well, I think that has been the message that we had a big UAE delegation in Washington a couple weeks ago. I think that has been the message from UAE. I think it has been the message from countries like Saudi Arabia as well. But they're saying we have to see a supply disruption before we put barrels on the market. And we did have one question about OPEC policy today. So Suhail Al-Mazroui took the question. He basically said, look, we made the decision to go forward with a bigger than increase than expected because we think the market can take the barrels. We think demand is stronger than many market participants believe it to be.
That's really interesting because oil did rise when they announced the larger than expected production increase. Yet the stock market rose today. We've got this overarching theme of these tariffs, which may occur in the United States. Oil collapsed 20% the last time we had the tariff announcement in April. It feels like the market is either blowing it off or doesn't believe it.
Well, what's interesting, Brian, is we had the market sell off when the missiles were targeting Doha, and then we rise when more barrels than expected are coming on the market from OPEC. So very, very interesting. I do think for some market participants, they look at the decision to bring forward more production. They say, we are actually drawing down this sort of spare capacity. It's really only Saudi barrels, but there's this big headline number of OPEC barrels on the sidelines. The more you bring forward production, the more you basically debit those expected barrels.
So we've got Baker Hughes, the CEO, on Worldwide Exchange tomorrow morning, Lorenzo Simonelli. We look at the Baker Hughes rig counts. They're falling in the United States. And I wonder, is it possible that OPEC believes U.S. production will drop off more than expected so they can add more barrels to make up for less U.S. production?
Do they believe that there's essentially going to be room in the market for their barrels to come on? And if you think about these countries with spare capacity, they are actually getting significant revenue by bringing on more volume. Yes, prices have come down, but for a country like Saudi Arabia, it is not yet a disastrous revenue situation because they have more volume.
Do you think it will be? I mean, is there a worry that it could be?
This is the question.
This is the question.
The million-dollar question.
Trillion-dollar question.
Trillion-dollar question is what happens in Q4? You have a lot of analysts out there saying we're going to be massively oversupplied, and then you have the view in the room today of the IOC CEOs, the OPEC minister saying, we've got this. Now, what is different than when I was here 10 years ago is OPEC says now, look, if there is a problem in the market, we can course correct. We are not locked in if we get some material oversupply situation. So there is a break that they can pull in the event that things turn south in Q4.
And there are CEOs here. Last night I ran into the CEO of Shell, Wael Sawan, not on camera. We were just ran into each other literally out at night. BP is here, which is interesting because there's rumors those two may end up together. What do you make of the fact that there is a CEO presence here? Is this kind of a newer OPEC that, like my light broke and then came back, that OPEC has tried to come into the light?
Well, we have had, the one thing that's really great about this seminar is you do have representation from like a wide variety of people in the energy industry. So you do have the OPEC ministers, you have non-OPEC officials here from governments, you have CEOs, you have think tank officials, you have, a lot of different people who focus on the energy environment. So it is a bigger party than the typical OPEC meeting.
And where we used to stand in a stairwell and then sort of trample each other to get upstairs, Helima Croft will let you get back in there. Thank you very much. Kelly and John, I mean, that's the thing. It's kind of an OPEC that's trying to unveil itself a little bit to the world. Tomorrow, one of our sort of focuses is going to be on what is OPEC now? Like, what is the organization? A lot of Americans, this shadowy organization behind closed doors, chomping on cigars, buying and selling. We're going to try to shed a little light on what exactly the organization is and what it is not. But I'm going to say goodbye. I'll see you in the morning with the CEO, Baker Hughes. Helima Croft.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Back to you guys.
Long day for you guys out there. Brian, thanks. Helima, really appreciate it as well.